It is a Wednesday evening, and this is PMAT, Pastor Matt of Memphis Metro Church. I am honored to be able to share a few moments with you this Wednesday evening for our midweek encounter. So tell somebody that Memphis Metro is sharing in midweek encounter. You can connect with us. You can share this on your page. You can go to our website and connect there. You can go to YouTube and connect there. Multiplicity of ways for you to stay connected to Memphis Metro Church. We're grateful for another Wednesday night, and let's take about 20 minutes or so to help us understand some dynamics. We have just completed a series at Memphis Metro Church where we were talking about more is calling. More is calling. More is calling. And so, a case study essentially of the life of Samuel and the transition from Samuel to Saul as the kingdom of Israel translates from being led by judges and prophet to a monarch, to a king. And so, very interesting transition because Saul uh, did not see himself as the king, and he was the first. And so, sometimes the challenge is as we create a mentality behind where we're headed, we have to think about we might be the first. We might be the first. And Saul was the first of his kind. He was the king of Israel. And so, but he had to have a mentality shift. He had to have a shift in gifting, an expansion of his capacity in order to reach that zenith, that apex, that pinnacle of understanding the mindset of royalty. And so that's some of the continuing principle that I want to challenge us with because we talked about Morris calling over the course of, hey there, Karen, um, talked about it over the course of January. And, um, I let the cat out the bag for us on Sunday that essentially I was still talking about capacity when I say Morris calling. And so there's this understanding that we have to have that if more is really calling, what is more calling us to? If more is calling, what is more calling us to? And so the transitional word that I want us to understand is that more is really designed to take us to a mindset of all. More is designed to take us to a mindset of all. And surely you can't all if you learn how to handle more. And so incrementally, the challenge is for us to see ourselves growing, maturing, developing, stretching, increasing in order to find the place of all. And so on Sunday, Ephesians 3:20 became the emphasis for us, realizing that God is doing something for all the saints. All the saints. He's doing it for his church, all the saints. And he wants to bless the entire earth, all the earth, through all the saints, because we're connected to the kingdom. And so he wants to do above all we can ask or think. That's the way God operates. So the more is the predecessor to the all. More is the predecessor to all. And this connects us, this series, this new series that we'll engage in starting. I'll give you some introductory stuff here tonight, but Sunday we'll officially delve into this context um, of what I like to call the real supply chain. the real supply chain. And so globally, we have heard this terminology, this phraseology passed around, and it refers to some particular economic conditions that were seriously affected because of the global pandemic. And so basically what happens is that there is a shortage of goods, services, and those goods and services, because they become decreased in volume, creates an increase in price, higher prices and inflation. So we're all still making observations that, a carton of eggs costs, what is it now? $20. It's expensive. And at one point, a gallon of gas was almost $4 here locally, or above $4. And so the context of global supply chain issues was creating shortage. And so the people who are responsible for global supply chain are essentially the countries that manage most of the manufacturing. And so if there aren't workers, then there is no process of manufacturing. No workers, no manufacturing, no goods. No goods being distributed across the global economy. And that shortage creates an increase in pricing. And so a thing generally tends to go up in price based on supply and demand. If there is a shortage in supply, and if there's an increase in demand, the price will go up. It's basic economics. But I'm going to talk to us over the course of a couple of Sundays in February about the real supply chain. Because we've heard about the global supply chain. But if we are believers, stay with me now. If we are believers, we don't depend upon the global supply chain. And so the 46th president of the United States last night gave us some insight into the State of the Union. And so it's a yearly speech that presidents have given for decades. And it's designed to update the American people on the status of our nation, economically, socially, educationally, as it relates to international relations. All these different things are addressed in the State of the Union speech. And so for us, we do have to have a perspective, a lens that is not thoroughly or unilaterally influenced by global happenings. We can't be subject to thinking that we simply are occupants of this world. We are in this world, but we are not of it. Can I get a witness? We are in this world, but not of this world. And so, with that being the case, Elder, we have to understand that the real supply chain that we rely on comes from a different kingdom. Can you get with that, Joyce? Uh, the real supply chain that we rely on comes from a different kingdom. And so we have seen and continue to see global shortages of goods and services. There are jobs open everywhere. Unemployment is at, I believe they said, like a 50-year low in the United States. There's still jobs available. The challenge is we aren't providing the quality of workers that can keep those jobs. And so here's what I want us to know. That global manufacturing was struggling because of a lack of workers. And those lack of workers produced challenges with the global supply chain. But let me give you what happens in the kingdom. There's only one worker. Only one essential worker. And his work has actually already been done. And he has provided enough for us where there will never be shortage of what we need. Somebody ought to be in their house hollering right now. No shortage in the real supply chain. No lack. And so the challenge for the contemporary Christian, for the modern day Christian, for the 21st century believing Christian, is that we have to work ourselves out of a mindset of scarcity and operate in a principle of kingdom supply. Let me say that again. We have to overcome the mindset of scarcity to operate in the principle of kingdom supply. Now, kingdom supply will lead to an outcome of surplus for the believer. If you're operating kingdom supply, not global supply, kingdom supply, then we have an outcome of surplus for the believer. I'm going to read you a passage and then I'll be done. I'm just setting the table for Sunday. That's all. I'm helping you change your mind, helping you turn into another man, helping you keep your goals active and alive for 2023, trying to help you get set for the next decade of your life. And so Paul writes to the Philippian church. He says, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at last your care for me has flourished again. Though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity. There was a scarcity of opportunity. And so Paul says, not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am in to be content. Verse 12 says, I know how to be abased. I know how to abound everywhere and in all things. I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. We're going somewhere with this now. This is Paul talking. And so, based on the spectrum of things that Paul has suggested that he can endure, here is how he comes up with the leadership and guidance of the Holy Spirit to write verse 13. Verse 13 says, I can do all these things through Christ who strengthens me. What things? I can be content. And what state I am? I can be abased. I can be abound. I can do all those things through Christ, who is my strength. In other words, Christ who supplies my strength. Okay, so verse 14 says, nevertheless, you have done well that you shared in my distress. And verse 15 says, now you Philippians also know that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but you only. For even in Thessalonica, you sent aid once and again for my necessities. In other words, people in the kingdom were supporting his ministry. Kingdom supply. Verse 17 says, not that I seek the gift. Like, I don't need your money. I don't need that. But I seek the fruit that abounds to your account. In other words, there's maturity happening that develops as a result of your giving. Indeed, I have all and abound. Indeed, I have, there's that word, that transitional word we talked about on Sunday, all and abound. I am full, having received from Epaphroditus the things sent from you, a sweet smelling aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, well pleasing to God. And so Paul says, since you all were responding to what you saw as needs for my life, you responded like kingdom people. You responded like kingdom people, and you sent things to me. And Paul said, I didn't really need it, but since you did it, here is the blessing that I'm going to release over your life. Here's verse 19, and we like to quote it. But here's the reason it was quoted, because Paul says, y'all saw what I needed. Verse 18 says, hey, I got everything. I have all, and I abound. I'm full. And I got stuff that you all sent through Epaphroditus. And all this is well pleasing to God. And so Paul says, in response to that, here's what my God will do. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. So I have tons of things to unpack on Sunday. But I want you to walk away tonight with the idea that we are going to put down this earthly mindset, old mindset, this limited mindset of scarcity in order to respond to the principle of kingdom supply. And that kingdom supply will produce, come on now, surplus in your life. My God shall supply. And so the question becomes, what is the pattern in which God supplies? That's the question that I want you to be asking yourself as you go into Sunday. What's the pattern in which God supplies? If Paul says God supplies, then what's the pattern that we've seen historically, the way that God supplies? Yes, sir. That's 21 minutes in. That's all you getting tonight. But see, I am here to help you increase your capacity. And so our church is on the precipice of kingdom supply to see surplus happen. I'm prophesying, declaring it over your life. Now, this ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody. So I don't believe in just casting out words for people who don't apply principle. It's for the word works for the people who attach themselves to the principles. Everybody don't walk in blessing just because somebody speak blessing over your life. You got to walk in the principles to participate in the outcomes. Memphis Metro.tv, that's the website. You can meet us Sunday morning at 258 North Merton Street in the heart of Midtown Memphis. 258 North Merton Street at 11:22 a.m. for fellowship, leadership, and worship. This is P. Matt, Memphis Metro. We'll see you Sunday.